Branson Landing. I see it more of a battle of ethics, of morals, and of values.
Mr. Key,
yeah.
I just need to interrupt you because
okay.
They were talking about the building,
right,
and the zoning for this building. And
okay.
I'm not sure where you're going with
well,
what's happening on the line.
I'm here to express that I don't believe this building should be built. I'm against this building being built. Many people have, I don't know if I've had as many, I don't know if the aldermen they probably have had more calls about this issue than I've had several calls about this issue of what went on and how it was handled. We believe it has been handled incorrectly. It wasn't handled in the proper way, and I guess my concern is as we give the approval, if this approval is given, which I pray that it will not be given, I think it's an issue that we need to deal with the people who are developing this property. If they're going to deal with other agencies such as ourselves or other nonprofit agencies, then I have an issue with how they deal with them. Many of the people who work at Branson Landing, I know in the wintertime will either hours will be cut or they will be laid off because of the lack of tourism, as most of us know who live here. Many of those people will be coming to the Salvation Army for assistance. This was a fundraiser for the Salvation Army that was already approved. So I'm expressing my concern against that, and that I don't think this building should be approved and built, and that's for several reasons. Thank you for listening.
My name is Mark Weiss, 386 Dalton Drive, Branson, Missouri. Rather than repeat the multitudes of reasons that I'm for this project being built in Branson, I'd simply like to say that it's my opinion that this project can benefit the citizens of Branson, the citizens of Taney County, and the taxpayers of Branson. And I'd like to use my time to read a letter from one of our citizens. This is a letter from a Russian comedian and local resident, Yakow to the City of Branson Mayor and City Council. Dear honorable members of the City Council, I'm so happy that I had an opportunity to watch the American democracy in action on the evening of November 27th at the Board of Aldermen's meeting. I'm very proud that Branson is famous around the world for providing wholesome family entertainment. I have no doubt that everyone in this room is in favor of Branson preserving its well-deserved reputation and natural beauty. One positive aspect of this particular project is that instead of cutting down more of our precious trees, which benefit our environment and enhance the beauty of our town, this new structure will simply take the place of an older, less attractive building. It could become an important landmark and gateway to Branson. Also, another benefit is that our customer base, which we have previously relied on, seems to be changing. Our market in the past was primarily elderly, who experienced the Great Depression and who through necessity had more of a savings mentality. Our future guests are from a different generation and have a different outlook on life. When we look at the demographics of the nation today, the number of affluent retired people is increasing dramatically. Millions of baby boomers who've experienced decades of prosperity are nearing their 60s and are looking for a place where they can enjoy the relaxed, upscale lifestyle to which they are accustomed. I believe that this new project will appeal to this booming market. The only difference in our perceptions of reality concerning this issue is a question of how we can protect the unique, magical quality of our home community. Some people believe that we can do this by keeping the prices and developments low. They may assume that this will keep away the elements such as high crime rate, which we don't want here. But that way will also keep away the upscale desirable clientele. I believe that by introducing a luxurious, upscale, comfortable place for people to stay, we are accomplishing the same goal, while at the same time keeping up with the times and the desires of our new market. To ensure the future tourists will continue coming to Branson to spend their valuable time and money, we should improve the quality of accommodations we have to offer. Let's get ready for our guests and welcome them with open arms and modern, beautiful lodging. Thank you for your leadership and for your consideration in this matter, And I believe the democratic process will prevail again, and the best choice will be made. What a country, what a council. With love and laughter, Yakow Smirnoff.
Next speaker, please.
Jack Herschend, and I appreciate the chance to spend 6 minutes with you. 2 minutes on what most everybody knows and would agree to, and 2 minutes on telling you a story of a big mistake I made a few years ago, and then 2 minutes on a recommendation. Branson's got a great thing going, and that's obvious to all of us. Our customer base, whether we talk about upscale, affluent, or whether it's older folks like myself or it's young families, love Branson. It isn't a matter that they kind of like Branson, they love Branson. And I think it's an accurate use of the word to say they're passionate about Branson. Other communities would kill to have the loyal customer base that we enjoy here in Branson. There's an upside to that, and that is that these people come back not once a year, but many of them come back 2, 3, 4 times a year. There's also a downside to that, and that is people that like you tend to overlook things that you may do that they don't like. The passionate customer, the ones that we see millions of, they don't tend to forgive you. They're much, much more critical of you. And that's the reason I'm here tonight. My story goes back about 14 years to a time when I just was convinced that we should change the village square at Silver Dollar City to have a Victorian look. It was just moving from an 1880s mining town look to an 1890s more romantic look that would appeal to the adult female, who after all makes all of the decisions as to where we go on our vacation. So we did it, and I will take full credit for it, though it embarrasses me a little to tell the story. I think you know where I'm headed with it. We had people turn in their season passes for refunds. We had people write letters saying they would never return to Silver Dollar City, that we'd completely ruined it. And the end of the story was, fortunately, it didn't take much money to reverse my error and go back to the 1880 mining town that people were passionate about. And there's some things that you can change, and some things you better not change. As I think about that story and how it applies to us here in Branson, it's my hope that we would consider taking some time to recognize that the developer of this proposed project has done us a favor. He's helped us identify a measuring stick that we very much need, and we can go get. It's readily accessible. We'll hire a professional architectural planning group. This is a group that tells you how things should look. And once you wrestle that to the ground, you've got a yardstick to compare this kind of project or any other project in the future as to whether it's a plus for Branson. It adds to the ambiance and to the attractiveness of our community, or it detracts. Today we don't have that yardstick. I would just ask you to just imagine in your mind if we had that yardstick today. I wish we did. I wasn't smart enough to recommend it until the developer brought this project up. But imagine, please, if you will, that we had that in place. It's an architectural tool that we've all agreed upon. It says this is what Branson should look like. And Carmel, California is a great example of that. Hilton Head is another great example of that. Would this project fit within that architectural plan for Branson? I asked 2 of you to describe why you voted yes for this project, and I appreciated your answers and good points. After you described why you voted yes, I ask you, if this building was 500 feet high rather than 300 feet high, would you have voted yes? The answer was you would not. You would have voted it down. So now we're in a position of approving or disapproving a project totally on our gut feel as to what those passionate guests that we count on are going to like or dislike. And I think that's a concern. So finally, I know the developer has laid out attractive numbers of jobs that this project will offer, and that's a good point. And the tax base, another good point. But I kind of doubt that this very attractive piece of property will return to cow pasture if you all don't approve this project. There'll be another project there, and it will develop jobs, and it will develop taxes. And so I'm asked that we not be held hostage to the economic points made in this project. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak to the project. I hope that we'll get the horse ahead of the cart, we'll get that yardstick, and then we'll look to see whether this project is an asset for Branson. Thank you.
Linda Cherry, 609 Parnell Drive. Thank you for having me here. I would like to just read a few things because I'm not good at ad-libbing, but Mr. Herschend, I agree with you 100%. I am in favor of a resort and a luxury spa and things like that that will bring a better growth and development to Branson. I am not in favor of a 25-story building. I feel we need smart growth, which I believe Mr. Herschend is referring to, and what my opinion is smart growth. In concern for the core values of the community and the environment we live in, I feel we should be allowing infinite variety of human talent and ambition to build harmonious and pleasing environments like we see in Andy Williams Theater and in Big Cedar Lodge, that is definitely in tune with what I feel our community and our environment is. It channels competitive forces to flourish as good neighbors while allowing the pursuit and vision of the private sector. The project at 24 Stories adds to my opinion in somewhat of a deterioration of our neighborhoods and our infrastructure and our environment. I hope the members of this board will be voting in the best interest of the community, the people who live here, the people who wish to live here, and all the people that come here in the future to make this their home and a place to enjoy. I hope your objective is to aid Branson in prospering over the long term and not just the short term growth with smart growth. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Candace Davis, 523 Parsons Parkway, Branson, Missouri. I never come to town, but I felt compelled to come a couple weeks ago when you had this meeting. Can't hear? Now can you hear?
Yeah.
Do I need to say my name again?
No, I heard that.
I don't come to town very often. I'm a builder, developer. I was born in a time when women weren't allowed to do things too much. I was born, thank God, in the United States of America, and there were people like Gloria Steinem, Helen Gurley Brown that paved the way for me. I've been working construction since I was 21 years old. I'm now 53. I moved to Branson in 1984. I'll tell you, it was an interesting challenge to move to Branson, Missouri from Seattle, Washington. I worked construction in many places in the United States before I came here. Branson was a very small town, and it's a beautiful town. I wasn't real crazy about it when I came here, but I fell in love with it. I fell in love with a lot of things about Branson. It has a wonderful trout lake, and we all know the attributes of Branson. It has a beautiful bass lake. It has wonderful people. It's beautiful. But we've evolved. You bring in 8+ million visitors, I presume, somewhere around their year. And I have started from scratch. I left a bad marriage in 1985, started out with nothing in this town. And this town allowed me to make a living, take care of 2 children and bring them up. As a construction developer and a builder, I build houses. I build high-end houses. Your average workers are maybe in the 100 to 150 range. We need a lot of houses for those people to work and live here. But we also need to bring in people to live here that want to be here and enjoy the beauty. It's not just for a mining town. Sorry, Mr. Herschend. I think you have a wonderful theme park. It's wonderful. There's a lot of wonderful theaters here. But there's people that would love to come here that would also like to have a high-rise condominium building to live in, a beautiful restaurant to eat at, and maybe see the view across the way. There are many, many areas because we're so spread out. We can have a wonderful theme park out in Stone County that has a mining 1800 whatever theme, and that's great. You can also have a roller coaster ride here on 376, and you can have an old showboat out on Table Rock Lake, and then you can have something as beautiful as the Branson Landing. There's plenty of room for everything. I have stretched my finances. I have no partner, I have no backer. I've stretched my finances as far as I can, and I have about 200 acres, on 265 highway between Silver Dollar City and Mr. John Q. Hammond's chateau. And I would hope that if I can muster up the money to build a 25-story building, that I would have the right as an American citizen to do so, as long as I met all the safety codes and all the codes to do with the environment there. I would hope that it wouldn't be dictated to me by my neighbors that didn't think that was appropriate because they don't like modern high-rises. I think there's room for all of us to do everything that we want to do. It's America. It's a free country. This is a very progressive town. You spent hundreds of millions of dollars at the landing. That's TIF money. And I would hope that if a private individual could come together and put a project together, we'd all look at it and give it an honest opportunity and put all of our prejudices, whether, I just hope that we can be open-minded and not think about the petty little problems that go on. So I hope that you'll vote yes for this building. I think it's a very progressive move and a very progressive mode here to help supplement your Branson Landing and future of part of Branson. We can still have the lovely Silver Dollar City. We can still have the chateau, and we can have all these other things. We complement each other with all the differences. That's what competition is. It makes it something for everyone to come here. And when I was in Kansas City, I lived outside of Kansas City one time, and I didn't have hardly any money. I used to save all my money just to go have dinner at the rooftop at the Alameda Plaza. It was such a huge, wonderful thing to see the plaza lights, and I didn't care if it took me 6 months to pay for that dinner. It was a great experience. You have a restaurant at 25 stories looking over Arkansas and Branson. I think a lot of people come here just to have dinner at their restaurant. I think we need some diversity. I don't think we just need a mining town or just a little 2-lane highway coming to a little town. I think we need a little bit of everything, and there's room for us to have a little bit of everything. There's room for all of us. So I think we need to work together and embrace each other and support each other's businesses.